I think you have a last point you want to make, and then I will deploy my plan, and we'll see how that goes.
Well, look, knowing what I know today, if I had known what I know today, I never would have vaccinated my 3 young daughters. I would have done whatever I could. So they're of age; they can decide for themselves. But I would have done everything in my power to have tried to change their minds. And I don't have any boys, but if it were my children, I would do whatever I could to do that. I do not understand this push to let's accelerate the approval of this experiment. And to experiment on our kids is, to me, and what really frustrates me is I know one of the cabinet members of the Biden administration, and I brought this to his attention numerous times, and he has tried to get the attention of the proper people, and I hear crickets.
The bell doesn't ring.
It doesn't register because it's against the narrative.
Yeah,
and there's a reason for that. It's like, because I sent it to a friend of mine yesterday, and I said, hey, could you get I've tried the secretary and he wasn't able to get it to Biden's attention. Could you at least get it to, and mention someone who's a top staffer of Pelosi? And so he looked at the document. He probably spent 2 minutes looking at it. And he said, Steve, I love you. I've known you for a long time. You're a great guy. But I should show you the email, but it ended with, and you probably don't think that there was an attack on January 6th. And that is just, it's like, look,
it's gaslighting.
If you want to criticize what I've written, please tell me what's wrong and I'll fix it. And I said, so tell me the truth. You just deleted it when you saw it. He said, no, I didn't delete it. I kept it around, but I didn't forward it like he said he would. He said, forward it to me. I will send it to. So he just,
cowardice.
Yeah. I mean, this is important, right? I might be right on this. And everything I've seen, every single thing I've seen, from talking to the paramedics, from talking to the doctors, seeing doctors fired, seeing paramedics intimidated, seeing my friends doing the next door surveys, every single time I try to look for, maybe, are they right? And I get nothing. I get confirmation the more I learn. And for me to try to convince an academic, and his argument was, Steve, you must be wrong, because all the academics say that it's safe and effective.
Right.
And you see these posts from, I commented on a post from one of the doctors at UCSF who says, I'm going to vaccinate my kid. And I said, well, you should look at this first. And so my friend's comment was, look, this is like global warming. And so there's the global warming deniers, and they're, deniers of, what happened.
It's tribal.
He goes and he says, look, you're up against everybody else says that it's safe and effective. All the academics say it's safe and effective. No one is raising any alarms. And so it's basically, they're saying like, there's something wrong with you. And in fact, right after Byram's presentation, my wife was entertaining 5 of my friends, five of our friends. And after I heard this about the biodistribution, I said, hey, if you haven't vaccinated your kids, I just found out some information that says this is going to be unsafe, and here's why. We're supposed to be in the arm, went to the whole body. Spike protein is not a harmless antigen. And then they said, hey, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. How we were going to, vaccinate our kids, but we're not going to go to. And then I walk out. And then they're like, is Steve okay? Has he been working too hard? Is he like,
as if this was a minor issue.
Yeah, they're like thinking that, he's lost it.
Right.
Right. And so this is the frustration. This is why people can't speak out, right? Because the narrative is so strong that everybody believes in this false narrative. And so anyone who challenges and says the emperor wears no clothes is just shot down and marginalized. And, they say to your face, oh, hey, thank you a lot. And then when you turn around, they're like,
Right.
wow, what's happened to him? And the amazing thing, of course, is that here you have a case where the NIH is basically sandbagging effective treatments, that the CDC is going along for the ride, that the FDA is fooled, and that people in Congress think Tony Fauci, who's been called out as the creator of the coronavirus and caused this whole thing, and then screwed up by not. There is.
Oh, believe me, I was very early on the lab.
We should have a separate one on this, but Chris Martenson does a fabulous job on his YouTube channel in taking down Tony Fauci and this whole cover.
I'm not defending Fauci.
Okay, yeah, but Congress, like I wrote to Anna, my Congress woman, and I said, here's the document, here's the facts. How do you respond to this? She wrote me a nice letter that says the vaccine is safe and effective. We'll be rolling it out, and the CDC has found no problems. And I'm going, well, they haven't even analyzed any of the cases, and they should be assuming that there's a vaccine. Like, they halt things, like their stopping criteria, should be 100 deaths or 200. Right. Anyway,
Robert's right. They're gaslighting us. It's getting to you. I hear you. You sound completely rational to me, but
look. I expected this. I knew. Right. I knew when I went into this that I would suffer. That right. I would be.
Let me give you some comfort.
30 seconds of comfort, and then we're gonna fix the planet.
Okay. This is always the case when you're at the tip of the spear. There's the parable: "Don't be a pioneer. All you get is arrows in the ass."
Yeah.
Okay. This is a paradigm shift problem. And the lovely thing about medicine is we've been through multiple cycles of this. The classic one is gastric ulcers and the bacterial basis for gastric ulcers, right. Which the guy that did that was subjected to everything that you're experiencing and more.
Right.
Okay. It is just, so I guess I'm saying, welcome to my world.
Yes.
I embrace you, and it's the nature. It is the red badge of courage.
Right. He said I was politically incorrect.
It's the red badge of courage that you're going through this, and you have the guts, despite all that, to continue to say whether you're right or wrong, to have the courage to swim upstream and say this isn't right.
Right. And everybody, by the way, advised me, because I told people, look, and this is the reason, like Pierre Corey doesn't do this. This is like you're taking on two albatrosses. Right. One is championing early treatment. Right. In Brazil, they don't think early treatment works at all, despite all the proof. So you're trying to champion this cause, right? You're going up against the NIH and the WHO. And they said, if you take on also the vaccine, you're done. You're done.
So wait,
you'll never go.
Robert is saying something very important, and I know he's right because I've been through it in a totally separate instance. Right, the work I did that revealed that there was a flaw in the drug safety system, that bell still hasn't rung. That was 2002. Right, so I know what that is, and Robert's right. This is par for the course, except the stakes are really high here.
And the amazing thing is that nobody is pulling the Andon cord in Congress to say, hey, stop.
But that's what we've got to do with the Save the World plan here, because I really want to begin to wrap this up. And I think the point is you've got all of these anomalous signatures, right? Even if the answer is, and I can make a defense for emergency use authorizations for a vaccine that is not well enough tested in the face of an emergency, in the face of a virus that we might get stuck with as a permanent fellow traveler.
Should let people know about the risk.
I can't make that argument when there's perfectly safe therapies that are available to us off the shelf.
That's right.
I certainly can't.
Absolutely
and I
right.
never could have made that argument for people who've already had COVID. And I certainly wouldn't have made that argument
for kids,
for women or children.
Right.
Okay. Especially pregnant women. But the fact is that's ovaries, right? That signal is telling us something about potential long-term reproductive health. So all of that said,
Nicely worded. Potential long-term reproductive health.
Thank you.